Mm. And we are live. Here we go. I can see it over here. I'm going to make sure I bring back to you and I so I can see you. I am also going to Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Ask Mother Lunch Hour Live, hosted by yours truly, Andrea Lawful Sanders. If you have been living under a rock and have not been watching the Ask Mother Lunch Hour Live for the last, how many months now? 7, 8, 9, 10 months since COVID struck, then I don't know what to tell you, right? If this is your first time joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. As always, I am going to do let me just make sure that my phone is shut down, do the preliminaries because I have had the pleasure today to let me just do this because see, Kathy, I do this all the time. hmm And then Philadelphia Sunday Sun. I do this all the time. And just because I have you on the air with me, this foolishness is happening, right? hmm Let me pull this up. Philadelphia Sunday Sun. And we can both, are you sharing it too, Kathy? You're muted. You're muted, Kathy. You got to open up so I can talk to you. Ah, there you are.
Here I am.
All right. So I'm trying to share, but sometimes the Sunday Sun gives me a hard time, to do what I'm supposed to do. And it gets so difficult to do it. I'm like, can you just let me share this, please? Let me be great in these Wakandan streets. So what I'm going to end up doing is just, yeah, because the Sunday
Okay,
Sun's page.
I'm gonna have
Were
to
you able to
share.
do it too?
Let me see. Yeah, I believe I. Yep, says posted.
All right, so you're good. So I'm about to share it myself. Right post, share on my timeline. There we go. We're about to get this done. All right, posted. There we go. All right, welcome and good afternoon. If this is the first time you're joining us, my name again is Andrea Lawful Sanders. I am the host of the Philadelphia Sunday Suns program that happens every Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. called the Ask Mother Lunch Hour Live. It is my absolute pleasure to have the publisher of the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, Catherine Hicks, on with me today. I have been talking to Catherine for we'll talk about how we got together. But I've been saying to her for a while now, I need you on the thing with me. Let's talk. Let's have an interview. And so you might not see Kathy again for weeks and months because she does not like being in the spotlight. So I'm telling you now, if this is the time, if you have questions, if you want to ask her certain things, you want to post it in your Facebook pages and let us know on the Sunday Suns page and let us know what you want to ask her because she'll be able to answer it for you. Let me get the disclaimer out of the way because even though I'm talking to Kathy, she knows I'm a little strange. And so there might be some things I say that should not be coming out of my mouth. And we don't want to hold the Philadelphia Sunday Sun responsible. So the advice offered during the Ask Mother Lunch Hour Live is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Use of this broadcast is not intended to replace or substitute for any professional, financial, medical, legal, or other advice. If you have specific concerns or a situation in which you require all of the above, you should consult with an appropriately trained and qualified specialist. The Ask Mother Lunch Hour Live, its host, the Philadelphia Sunday Sun newspaper and publisher, are not responsible for the outcome or results of following any advice in any given situation. You and only you are completely responsible for your actions. I have to tell you, Kathy, I know this has not been something that you've aspired to do because you and I talk all the time. But welcome to your own show.
Thank you, thank you. And I'm shocked that I'm here now.
Oh,
I like to stay behind the scenes,
yes,
but
you do.
I had to do this one, because you asked,
Mm.
and the other because you are mother. Not too many people say no to you. Here's
Yeah.
my phone, of course.
Oh, Kathy, how you gonna
And
have that phone
and
on?
so, but it's actually an honor.
Yeah.
I enjoy speaking with you. We talk,
Mm.
and which so many people don't know. We've known each other for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're an excellent uh, host, columnist. You know so many people, you do so many things. And I was just honored to have you as part of the Sun team.
So
So
let's tell
it's
the
just,
people how we met, because you weren't even aware, Catherine, of all the things that I was doing. She every week, Kathy would call me and say, "You you know such and such. You with
yes,
this." I was so
yes,
quiet for 3 decades. Nobody knew. So
you
tell
were.
everybody
And
exactly how we met.
well, it's funny. I would see you at different places, events. Of course, you're invited to all types of things, but when you would come in the room, you always had a presence. I knew again that I would look at you and I say, I don't know if I know her, but I've seen her, and I know I want to get to know you, because you always had a presence. You kind of stayed in the background a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
you would be watching, listening, looking. Just I knew that there was something with you. Then I happened to see that you had a book out. You did a book signing,
Mm-hmm.
and when I saw the book, I was like, oh my, she's a writer. She is a writer. I said, so this is my introduction to her. So the next event, I'm not sure if it was the tea or it was an event, or it might have been
It was an event. We were all getting awards for something. Was it the mansion on Germantown Avenue?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Hmm.
And so I approached you and I said, I love you. I love what you do. I love your book. And I'd like to have a conversation with you about writing for the Sun. So
Hmm.
we set up an appointment to meet at
Uncle
one of
Bobby's.
our
Our
both of our
favorite.
favorite places, Uncle Bobby's.
Yep.
And and when you agreed, I thought I was going to have to do a bunch of convincing and show you. I brought the Sun. I wasn't even sure that you were aware of, the Sun and how long it had existed. And so when I brought it, you were like, yes, I would
And,
like to write
and
for
do you
you.
remember what I said to you then? Because people have asked me to write for them before, and I've told them
Hmm.
no. I literally looked at you, had a great, in the middle of having a good conversation with you. I said, I don't even care if she asked me to do this for nothing. I'm going to write for you. And let me tell you why. You have a humbling presence. I've spent a lot of time around a lot of people, nationally, internationally. Nobody knew though. I was just this girl. I remember when Susan L. Taylor called me to come and meet with her in New York, and I had to go into New York with Lisa Nutter, who was the then whose husband was mayor at the
The
time.
mayor,
And
yes.
Lisa looked at me. We've still now become friends. Lisa looked at me and said, "Where did you come from?" Because nobody knew I was one of those people that would just stay in the cut, and I still do that, right? But I
Yeah.
immediately liked your energy and what you brought to the table, and so I listened to you. I knew of Jerry Mondajire,
Hmm.
but had never been affiliated with the Sun in any way. And I looked at you that day, and I remember coming home and I said to my husband, "If it's the last thing I do, I'm going to help that woman to make sure that whatever she wants to do with the Philadelphia Sunday Sun is going to come to fruition." And I came back to you. I said just that. And you looked at me. And, people say things a lot, Catherine. People
Yes.
tell you when they make promises. But let me
Mhm.
tell you something. That is a promise that I never broke with you.
Okay.
You have stepped up in the gap when I would say to you, Kathy, I want to do the film festival in Martha's Vineyard. They're like, come on. And I went on out
Hmm.
there and we rocked it out. And then when the NAACP Image Awards was coming, I said, Kathy, I know I've never done this before. Can you please just all I need you to do is get me there. Remember that, Kathy?
Yes, yes. And it was funny because we had talked previously about you used to do the red carpet reviews.
Yes.
And I
Mm-hmm.
said to you then, I said, I love reading those because you're so honest about it. And a lot of what you said was true. It was the
Mm-hmm.
same thing that most people were thinking but didn't say.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to you, I said, I would love you to do like a red carpet. Or
Mm-hmm.
so when the NAACP awards came up and we talked about it, and you said, I'll do it. Just
Mm-hmm.
get me in. And I was
Yep.
like, can she really? And I thought about it and I said, you know what? If anybody can get in there and do
Mm-hmm.
this, you could do it.
Yep.
And you did an awesome job. I
Thank
mean,
you.
you were like a pro out there, and people said it. Even the NAACP came back to me and they were like, she was excellent, a pro.
Yeah, the BET people, because we were close to their cameras, Mal and I, they were like, "How long have you guys been doing this?" We're like, "This is our first time." The guy almost dropped the camera. He said, "No, it is
Right.
not your first time doing this. It looks like you've been here your whole life."
Yes.
And
I
so
mean, you were on that carpet getting it. You were
listen,
getting
honey.
those interviews. You were like, I was laughing watching it on TV, and I
Yep.
kept seeing you. I said, "There's Andrea." You know, there's the mic. You had the Sun microphone. I was like, "Oh my God." So,
Yep.
and we got a lot of help. I tell you,
Yeah.
it's never one person
There
who
you go.
does anything. I mean, I'm so honored. I have a great team.
Hmm.
I'm so glad that you're a part of it because you
Hmm.
have just added to the dynamic of what the Sun can do.
Hmm.
And just our staff. I have a great staff.
Hmm.
We have great friends, mutual friends,
Hmm.
who, when I've decided to do certain things, have always kind of stepped up to help us.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's not one person. I'm truly blessed
You're
to
absolutely
have
right.
the team that I do, but also just having you join our team has just been it has catapulted us to a different realm, especially on this social media. I
Yeah.
mean, because your show has just been, it people enjoy it so much. It's the topics, it's your
It's the
personality.
honesty. It's the honesty and
Hmm.
the authenticity, which is one of the
Yes.
reasons why I say I would write for you, and why I came to you about this Ask Marva Lunch Hour Live. You gave me the space, Kathy, to be
Hmm.
authentically myself. I didn't have to dress up what was in my mind. I had city leaders. I remember one council member called me, ran into me in church, and said, "Girl, you are out here tearing out our lungs." She said, "But you're making sense, right?" Where people
Yes.
would be so afraid to have those kinds of conversations, I was
Hmm.
willing to do it. But the better part was you were willing to print it. Because you
Yes.
could have said to me, "Andrea, now come on now, girl, we can't do this." You were like,
Right.
"Go ahead."
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was able to print it. But speaking
Hmm.
of collaboration and partnerships, every time you and I began working together to do something, I would, Teresa has been great with me. Denise
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
uh,
Amy Simmons.
Simmons.
Yes.
Oh my God, that
We just
whole
have a great team. Our social media,
yep,
Monica Peters,
Monica, yep,
just a great team that
mm-hmm,
helps us do all of this. And
mm-hmm,
it just,
mm-hmm, yeah.
I'm blessed.
And so, as Black women, we have been in the cut doing the work. So, for instance, when we decided that I was going to go to California, when I got out to California, as you know, they couldn't find a press pass for me. And instead of throwing a hissy fit and having a moment, I smiled. I was cute as a button. I said, "Girl, do you like oxtails?" I don't know this woman from a can of paint. I said, "Do you like oxtails? If you find me my passes, I will make sure you have some oxtails." And she said, "And you came dressed like that?" She said, "Media usually comes dressed in black." I said, "Honey, we Jamaican and from the African continent. We ain't coming in no black." And worked it out. So not only did we get the red carpet passes, we got backstage passes to
Yes.
go work the thing afterwards, right? Cherry Gregg, Denise James, they all stepped
Yes.
up, showed me what to do with the microphone. Cherry Gregg, and nobody knew this, and I'm going to share with all of you how Black women work, right? And what
Hmm.
is possible. She went on Amazon without telling me a thing, and she sent me all kinds of lights. She said, "You're going to need more than one or two or three." She sent me a recorder that I still have to this day, right?
Hmm.
To record what I could. Denise James gave me the thing for to put the Sunday Sun on it, and she told me
The
how to hold the
microphone
microphone. Yep. So
tag, the
yep,
microphone tag. I mean, it was
yep,
it was it was
yep,
beautiful. And then you designed a dress that would make the sun stand out, the colors of the sun and everything. I was just like, you know what?
yep.
You and all I have to do, the thing I like about you, Andrea,
Mhm.
is if we say it, you can do it.
Absolutely.
We'll have a conversation and you'll say, yeah, that is something I'd like to do. And
Yep.
then within a matter of days, you're calling me back. So what I did was I set this up, and I'm just like, wow. Well, I mean, we
Yep.
just talked about it, but
Mhm.
you're like,
Yep.
you're like right on top of it. You say
Yep.
all you need to do is get me this, that, and I got it from there.
Yep.
And
And
it's been such a pleasure. So
yeah.
I see us going to even higher heights than what we
Yeah.
are now.
So I want us to talk a little bit about Black women and our relationships. The Georgia runoff elections just happened, and Reverend Warnock won. And it looks like Ossoff, even though they may challenge him because the numbers aren't as far ahead as people want them to be, will probably win his seat too. And at the middle of that is a
Yes.
black woman by the name of Stacey Abrams.
Yes.
And I have had very honest conversations with you, Kathy,
Hmm.
about the two of us as black women and the team at the Philadelphia Sunday Sun working together in tandem with each other so that we can do good things on
Hmm.
behalf of the constituents. And it's not, there are no big egos there. It's part
Right.
of what I absolutely love about you and would do anything. I am now everybody's going to watch this. So I would do anything for you. Anything, because you walk with a
Oh,
humble heart.
thank
You've
you.
always taken care of the people that are around you. When COVID hit, you made sure that your Sunday Sun team had what they needed, even though everything shut down, you know?
Hmm.
And so you and I would talk, all right, this is how we do it. This is what we're going to do. Um, talk to me a little bit about what it means to you as a black woman to work with other black women that are not ripping you apart. Because, Hunty, I moved into this city, and some of these black women, I don't know if they came from Mars or what, but they don't. They are so divisive.
Yes.
They'll tell you one thing to your face and do something behind your back. And I really wanted you and I to be a lesson in what is possible when we give our word and keep our word. So, what has this journey been like for you as a black woman running a newspaper? All right, talk about what that has been like for you.
You know, and it is, you have to have strong allies. You have to have people that are genuine, like you,
Hmm.
like some of the staff of the Sun. Well, would say all the staff and our freelancers, and
Hmm.
we have a great team because I'm sure how hard it is out here. When I took over when Jerry passed 5 years ago, uh, my sole I guess responsibility or how I felt was more so just about keeping his legacy going.
Hmm.
But it's more than that now. He worked hard to give this paper a voice, to have a voice for the community. And as a female publisher, I learned a lesson that, again, it was hard stepping into his shoes
Hmm.
because he was a man and I'm a woman. And so the relationships that he had, you know, I wasn't really looked at the same way.
Hmm.
As a woman, I was dismissed at times. So you
Mm.
have to sort of put yourself in positions and you have to be willing and honest enough to kind of stand up and say, hey, look, I know what I'm doing here. I need to be recognized. But you need those people as women to kind of stand beside you because
Hmm.
there are women out here who don't. They look at you like you said, and they're divisive. On one end, they're smiling in your face and they're telling you how, oh, I hope you do great.
Hmm.
I love what you do.
Hmm.
And then behind your back, you're hearing, I'm hearing, oh, she's not gonna make it. That paper is gonna close down.
Hmm.
It's, like it's she can't do it.
Hmm.
And it just sort of made me even more determined to put out a good product and to make sure that I worked with people, but that the women in our organization were recognized for what they could do. I
Hmm.
mean, this last year is just proof of the strength that we have. In COVID, a lot of papers were shutting down.
Right.
And I
Right.
mean, we are continuing to print. I mean, I have printed now since Jerry passed. We have not missed a date of printing.
Mm.
And it has just been one, I just feel so blessed, but also it just shows what a woman can do when she's
Mhm.
determined and she
Come
has
on.
the right route with her. And
Hmm.
it's again, it's personality. I try to be honest. I try to be sincere. Um, if I tell you something, I do my best to
Hmm.
make sure that it happens. I
Hmm.
know that you all, my everyone, they work hard. It's not easy being a journalist, a
Hmm.
columnist, to try to tell the story, to be a host. I know how hard you work.
Hmm.
So, it's I feel obligated to make sure that I am able to at least compensate you for it, but
Hmm.
also give you what you need
Hmm.
to get your stories out.
Right. So
So
when COVID hit, what did you buy for your writers and the people that had to work at home?
well, I mean, we had to make sure everybody had the laptops to take home and be able to work from home, because we weren't able to stay in the space. It wasn't one safe,
Mm-hmm.
because I we do have employees that have underlying conditions.
Conditions.
We were that have children that are home, that they had to be home with.
Mm-hmm.
So we just wanted to make sure that all of our staff had what they needed
Mm-hmm.
to be able to complete the job at home.
Right. When I heard that, I almost fell over because I mean, and I never came to you to ask because when once COVID hit, I said to my husband, "Okay, I need this, and this," and we just started ordering and retrofitting my office so that everything I needed. Back here behind those dolls, I have all sorts of microphones. I have
Yes.
lavalier. I have all kinds of things, right? Because I wanted to make sure that if we had to go out on the street to do anything, then I was going to be ready. And so when you told me that you did that, I was like, oh my gosh, you're awesome. You're just so
Yeah.
awesome, right?
Well,
And you
thank
continue to
you.
do it. You continue to do it.
And it's not easy, believe me.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, sometimes, I mean, we are sometimes working with a shoestring budget,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
but again, my staff, they work with what they have also. I mean, they're
Mhm.
not complainers. They
Mhm.
do. You are not either. I mean, you've
Mhm.
never, like you said, come to me and said, Kathy, I have to have this or I can't get
Mhm.
it done.
Mhm.
If you didn't have it, you said, I'm going to get it.
Mhm.
And when you're able to reimburse me or whatever, then that's fine.
Mhm.
But I'm going to make sure that I have what I need.
Mhm.
And don't worry about it. I'll make you look good. And
Mhm.
you always have.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I think it's important to be able to have your staff trust you and feel comfortable with working with you. And I think that is one of the things that I am able to do. I try to let my staff know how thankful I am and
Mhm.
appreciative
Mhm.
to their patience,
Mhm.
to their dedication. Every week making sure, because it's hard. It's hard for these
Yes.
families too. I mean,
Mhm.
some of these days, it can be very depressing, very scary,
Yes.
but they,
Mhm.
but they get it done.
Mhm.
And it's just a testament as to who works for you and who's
Mhm.
on your team.
Hmm. Let me ask you this. You have now been the publisher of the Philadelphia Sunday Sun for 5 years. Jerry died suddenly.
Six.
What were your hardest days like? Because I want people to know that running a business is not just getting up, being cute, and things just magically appear. What were your hardest days like, and what kept you going?
The hardest days, and and it's still like that, especially once COVID hit.
Mhm.
It was just wondering if I would be able to uh, sustain the paper financially,
Mhm.
because again, we exist off of advertising and subscriptions,
Mhm.
and so my concern was, would I be able to keep the employees that I had,
Mhm.
still be able to put out a quality paper
Mhm.
and print each week, because the
Mhm.
printing costs are very high.
Mhm.
The paper has gone up, so those type of days, they're stressful, as you're kind of budgeting, making cuts, trying to ensure that each week, not only am I looking and talking over with the staff as to what the stories are going to be in the paper, cover story, and
Mhm. Mhm.
but how much we can put in,
Right.
and will we be able to cover it all.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
that was a worry when I first took over the paper. It still
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
But so those were my hard days. And what was it? Was that the whole question? What are my hard days and what?
And what kept you going? What kept you going?
Well, what kept me going, one is really our readers, and what we some of the feedback, because there were a few times that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, continue
Right.
to do this.
Right.
But then when I read, or I'll run into somebody in the street, or I'll
Mhm.
run into somebody who get a call or email where they say,
Mhm.
oh, I love the paper this week. I
Mhm.
love what you wrote. I love the story about, this person or that, and it made it all worth it. All the
Mhm.
stress, all the, everything, it made it worth it. And the
Mhm.
other thing is just, again, keeping Jerry's legacy going,
Mhm.
because to me, he did so much for the city. He was eh, not only, an activist, but, he was a the publisher, a writer,
Mhm.
just so many things. And he worked so hard to kind of get this paper going. And I felt like, I had an obligation
Mhm.
to not let it die, because this was another vehicle that he put out to make sure that the community was notified as to what's happening in the community. It was
Mhm.
another voice besides some of the mainstream news. We
Mhm.
tell some of the stories that are not being told,
Yes.
and you're of course a big part of that, because we've had a number of your cover stories
Mhm.
that gave out information that people weren't aware of, and just kind of really helped the community.
Mhm.
So it's that kind of makes me say, you know what, I can't give up on this.
Yeah, there are two instances that come to mind for me. The Brian Jenkins story, the Me Too movement, the opposite side of the Me Too movement.
Yes.
And I remember writing that, and folks were like hotter than fish grease. But I said, listen, I never negated the fact that the Me Too movement was an issue. I was talking about the fact that some women, a small group of women, would use it to harm men that they no longer liked.
Yes.
And I wrote that, and I was like, Lord, the people are going to kill me. Do you know it was when I was at the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival? He
Mm-hmm.
got up to ask a question of the producer of that movie, the Brian Jenkins movie.
Yes.
And when I
Yes.
told him, he said, "Oh, it's you." He said, "I read that story. Great
Yes.
job." I almost fell out my seat. The man is in California, right? So we
Yes.
never know. So between the printed paper and the link that goes out, he said, not only did you write an excellent piece, you gave a balanced view of what we were
Mhm.
talking about so that people could understand.
I
That's
remember that conversation we had before you wrote it. And I said to you, now, are you comfortable? We were talking about it and you were saying it. I said, oh my God, I said, we need to put this out here. I said, are you comfortable? You said, I'm going to start writing tonight. You were just like, and that's what I like. You have a fearlessness that
yeah.
is just, you say something and you're like, you know what? No, I'm going to do it. And you
Mhm.
started, and that piece was powerful.
It was, and made it
And no
all
one else
the
was talking about it.
no
They
one else
weren't
wrote the
saying it.
story. No one else wrote the story from that angle. To this day, no one else has written that story from that angle. And that's the power of using Black Talk media,
Yes.
media that we were able to do what we need to do. The
Mhm.
second story that comes to mind for me was when you called me and said, there's a woman that's been reading your columns, and she wants to talk to you about something. And that woman was Linda Wallace. And I
Yes.
go over to CCP. I'm telling you, you that, I go over to the Community College of Philadelphia, and Linda says to me, "All right, I need you to to look at this and write the story." And at the time, they were going through contract negotiations.
Hmm.
And everybody, the mainstream media, kept talking about one thing: how much money Dr. Generals was getting paid. The teachers were the professors were feeling all out of sorts. And I said,
Hmm.
"Okay," I said to Linda, "I need you to do two things for me. Get me an interview with Dr. Generals. Let me talk to some of the students on campus. Leave me alone. Let me, because I'm going to write this authentically, and get me the information about the contract, the not the contract itself, but what were some of the things that they were fussing about, and what did you have to respond to that?" I got into Dr. General's office, sat down, talked to him, and wrote a piece that to
Yes.
this day, people are still calling me. There were staff members at the Community College of Philadelphia called me and said, "Thank you, because you were able to open up and talk about the things that the mainstream media would not touch." That is the value of what you're
Yes.
doing, Kathy. The
Yes.
value.
Yes.
And Linda, as a direct result of doing all of that, I now on my radio show, I talk to people from CCP all the time. In fact, I'm getting ready to interview the woman from the Cato Scholarship, you know?
Oh wow.
Just and I've talked to Dr. General several times. So that's what another black
Yes.
woman.
Yes.
And
And
Linda.
Linda, who is a dear friend of mine,
Mm-hmm,
we've known each other for years,
mm-hmm,
and she's also the Sun's cultural coach. So
mm-hmm,
she does a column, every week, which discusses cultural competence.
mm-hmm,
So she read, one of your articles, and she said, she is an excellent writer, and she is so genuine. She said, I want to meet her. I want to talk to her about a very important story.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, from there, it was just, you took it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
A professor at CCP said, "I swear you have saved our contracts. You've
yes,
saved us from going down a rabbit hole." And I'm telling this story because I want us as journalists to be brave in what
yes,
we say and do,
yes,
to understand that people are reading our words and to really bring things to light that might be uncomfortable
hmm,
in the process of doing it, right? But it's the only way. Newspapers should never hide in darkness.
yes,
Newspapers are supposed to shed light like the sun, right?
yes,
So
yes.
tell everybody
Every
before I
time.
forget, we're going to do this now. And at the end of the show, how can they, what is a
Subscription?
subscription cost for the
Yes.
Philadelphia Sunday Sun?
So for the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, you can get the newspaper delivered to your home each week, because we're a weekly paper, each week for $40. That's for the year. $40 for the year,
What?
and $26 for 6 months. I mean, $40, that's not a lot of money to get it.
Everybody should, yes.
Yes, and and you get the paper with its coupons, with all the information. Every week we try to highlight something really important. We have a number of columns that go into our paper, including yours, A Lawful
Mm-hmm.
Truth,
Mm-hmm.
Ask Mother.
Well, mm-hmm.
We do the Cultural Coach,
Mm-hmm.
Millennial Voice with
Mm-hmm.
Danae.
Danae Reed. Yep.
We do the horoscopes. CJ Speaks every other week, and
Mm-hmm.
now we have Steph Humphrey with
Mm-hmm.
her tech column.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just Sun Spotlight, which
Mm-hmm.
now our Sun Spotlight, Charisma McElwain is going to be hosting
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Oh.
we started one yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
but we're going to actually highlight the new
Mm-hmm.
Spotlight coming up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we just have a lot to offer. So, and if you're interested in getting it, you can either call us at 215-848-7864, or go to
Hold
our
on, hold
website,
on. 215-848.
7864.
7864.
That's
What's
the
the
office
website?
number.
Uh-huh.
The easiest way is to go to our website at
Mm-hmm.
phyllissun.com, and you can fill out your subscription. You can get it right online. You can go through PayPal
Mm-hmm.
and get your subscription.
Mm-hmm.
And but also, follow us on our other media handles as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. I'm
let me
putting
just
it
make
up
sure
on
I say
social
those
media
right.
right now, phyllissun.com,
Hmm.
for subscription, right?
Yes.
And the subscription is $40 a year.
$40 for the year, and it helps the Sun. I mean, we are a minority-owned paper,
Mm-hmm.
Black-owned,
Mm-hmm.
woman publisher, female publisher myself, and it's hard. I mean, you have something like the Daily News, the Inquirer. We're not on that realm as far as
Mm-hmm.
advertising or anything else. So the
Mm-hmm.
subscriptions are important
Mm-hmm.
to keep us going, to keep
Mm-hmm.
us printing.
Mm-hmm.
And that too for advertising. If you have a small business or a business that you want to advertise,
Mm-hmm.
contact us, because we are able to not only put your ad in the paper, but also to put it on our social media
Media
sites as well.
online, yes. You've
Yes,
really
yes.
ramped up your Facebook page, which made me so happy because I'm a social media maven, honey.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got on the Facebook page and the show shows up every Wednesday, I have
Yes.
not missed a show. Even when
Oh,
I am not feeling myself, I'm like, I cannot miss a show because I understand the importance of doing this work,
yes.
right?
Yes.
What does it mean to have uh, black publications and black media in a time where mainstream media, and I talked about this on my radio show yesterday, Kathy,
Mhm.
they're writing a story about us and they write it in such slanted ways because they don't have us in the newsroom,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so they write from the lens that they're thinking of, and they come into our communities, write our stories, and then leave, and they never get to know us. We
Right.
live in our communities, right? And we
Yes.
know our pains and our angst. So talk about the importance of black publications and why they should not die.
Yes. So Black publications are so important because, again, just like you said, they tell our stories, but they tell it from our voices.
Yes.
When you have a Black publication with writers who look like you, who understand what you're going through, who are in the community, and can tell the stories from the community, it's important. You're not going to get that from the mainstream newspapers,
Hmm.
because they will assign a writer who is going to get the information, but they're not going to do the investigative
Mm-hmm.
portion of it through the eyes of the people that look like us. And
Yes.
so when there is a mistake or information that is incorrectly printed, they don't always quickly change that. You might see a little byline in the next
That's
week or
hidden
something.
something. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that
Mm-hmm.
says, we there was a mistake in this portion of it or whatever. But it's
Mm-hmm.
nothing. We take time to really get our information, get the
Yes.
stories, to talk to the people that it impacts, and to make sure that the story that we are putting out there is genuine, informative, but true.
Mm-hmm.
And we are a trusted news source. We try to make
Yes.
sure that the information you get when you read it, you know that that's the true information, that you
Mm-hmm.
can rely on it, that you
Mm-hmm.
that you know it came from a source that is
Mm-hmm.
reliable.
The other story that comes to mind, which was another cover story, was writing about the Philadelphia Defenders Association with Keir Bradford Gray.
Yes, I love that.
Keir called me after that story. It was shared hundreds of times.
Yes.
Hundreds of times. She called me and said, "How did you?" What I ended up doing was going into her office that day, and I spent the entire day there.
Mm-hmm.
And I went from floor to floor, talked to her staff members, got a real good feel of the organization, and wrote a story that opened the eyes of all the people about the Philadelphia Defenders Association beyond what we've already known. It was this big secret, until we wrote it. And so I can't thank Kier for giving me the space to write that story in a way. And I mean, the last time I checked, it was shared over 400 times. It was crazy.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And so we want our stories to be told, and we don't want it to be, dry. So the other one that I just wrote, another cover story last week that I have to post on my page, uh,
Nafis.
Nafis.
Yes.
Nafis, everybody wrote the story about Nafis. All the major newspapers covered Nafis, but all they talked
Mm-hmm.
about was that he won the scholarship, and they gave like this trite conversation about, how he got to the place where he is. I literally sat
Mm-hmm.
down with Nafis and said, let's dig into it. Let's dig into it so people can understand how miraculous it is for you to get to this place and
Yes.
how humble you are. That you,
Yes.
right?
Well, and that was the thing when I first saw the story, and we had talked about it being a cover story, and then I saw that a couple of the other newspapers did a story on him, and I was thinking at first, I said, "Oh, wow, they scooped us. They got it before us." I read the stories, and then I read your story, and I said, "Oh no, this is a cover story,"
Yep.
because the information you just expanded on, they told a portion of the story, but you
Yes.
went so much deeper. You really
Yep.
talked about who he was, how he got to where he was, and the steps that it took, and it was just so genuine. And I said, yes, this is
Yep.
definitely worthy of the
Yep.
cover.
Yep.
So
Let's talk a little bit about having more male writers. I've been
mhm,
trying to convince Mr. Man Frisbee, who was an amazing. I wanted to
yeah,
write, but not write in his voice, like we write for the root. I want him to tackle the subject matters that everybody's afraid to talk about. Right? Would
yes.
love to get him on board with you, but talk about the importance of having male writers at the Philadelphia Sunday Sun.
Yes, I mean, and that was the thing. At first some people were saying, well, you is this just a female paper? Is it just, do you only write about and I was like, no, but for some reason it was hard to get male writers.
Mm-hmm.
A few of our writers, two of our writers passed, and and it not due to COVID. It happened prior. So I have been trying to fill those spots. I do have a few, and we just recently have Jim Brown joined us. We have Napoleon Kincaid. And I don't want to start naming names because then I'll forget somebody. But I was looking for male writers, and then when you
Yes.
told me, I had met Mr. Man Frisbee years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When he wrote a book
Mm-hmm.
uh, that I wanted for a young man that I knew. I said, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this book is so perfect for the
Mm-hmm.
young men that are out and they need to read this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you said you knew him and you were friends with him, I said, "Oh my goodness, I'd love to talk to him. I would be interested in him writing for the
Mm-hmm.
Sun." And
Mm-hmm.
you talked about doing a cover story on it.
And I did a
One,
cover
and you
story on.
absolutely did, and
Yeah.
and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we are interested in having more male writers.
Mm-hmm.
So, for anybody who is looking at this, um, and is interested in
Mm-hmm.
writing,
Mm-hmm.
either DM me, or
Yeah.
or give
Yeah.
us a call at the number 215
four eight
848
seven eight
7864
seven eight two four
64.
64 7864 215-848-7864 if you're
Yes.
interested in writing for the Philadelphia Sunday Sun.
And they
Remember
can
now.
also email me. My
Okay.
email is publisher
Mm-hmm.
at philosun.com.
At philisun.com.
Publisher at philosun.com.
Philisun.com. Publisher at philisun.com. Your team of folks have been wonderful. I
Oh,
don't get
thank
to
you.
talk to them often, but Teresa and Denise and Amy and Leah, have
Leah,
all been
yes.
so
Cannot forget
kind.
Leah.
Yes, have all
Hmm.
been so kind and understanding, in the fact that I wanted to write in my own voice, and they left me alone for
Hmm.
the most part. If something stunned them, they came to you. You were like, let her do what she.
And they've said that, you are not a hard edit.
No.
There are some, pieces that we get in, and it's like, it's going to take me a day or two to you know get this thing situated, to edit
Mm-hmm.
this and
Mm-hmm.
put it in a form that is
Mm-hmm.
conducive to what we put out in the paper. But
Mm-hmm.
from day one, when you started writing, it was just, what, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Our editors say it, everything. Oh, it's been a pleasure
Yeah.
uh, editing. You're not a hard edit. You're
Yeah.
easy to, you write authentically.
Yes, I
And
do.
sometimes that's the only thing, that sometimes the words, sometimes they'll start changing it, and then I'll say, nope, you got to put that back, because
Yeah.
that's how she says it. That's
Yes.
exactly, I want it to be in your voice,
Yes.
because
Yes.
some of the things, the way you pronounce it or the way you
Mm-hmm.
write it, it's
Mm-hmm.
authentic to who you are. And
Yes.
when you try to change it, it's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no, she wouldn't say it that way.
Right. Right.
So
And I even I even changed the spelling of some words
mhm,
purposefully. Excuse me, y'all. My voice
yeah,
is coming and going. Purposefully. It's not that I can't spell properly. It's just that this is the way I wanted to write the word, right? So that
yes,
people can understand it. I literally, the Root newspaper, the new online. I love
mhm,
their writers because they say things just how. Only thing I won't do in my articles is cuss, because I will not
right,
denigrate. But
right,
just really, being
sure,
authentic in the space.
mhm.
What is your dream now? What are your goals? If all things were possible, one of the dreams that I have for the Philadelphia Sunday Sun is that funders would send funding your way. The
Yes,
Lenfest Foundation, the
yes,
folks who have the money, the foundations that are out there that have always, given to other publications and not thought about you. I
mhm,
literally wanted to talk to you today so that people could see what we were doing, right? And that
yes,
this is a little gem that is being polished right there in the heart of Philadelphia, that is
mhm,
reaching the people that are there. And even if they what they did was to take some of your stories and ran them on their, like, WHYY or 6ABC,
sure,
run some of your stories because they're authentic stories coming from Black writers, right?
mhm.
That would be a good thing. But in your biggest dreams, what would you see happening for the Sunday Sunday? Because 2 years ago, did you see it where it is today?
I mean, yeah, it is actually growing, and I'm so proud of that. And that's what I'd like to see. I would like it to continue to grow. I'd love to get more subscribers. I'd love to have it in more areas than we do now. We
Hmm.
are tri-state, but I'd like to reach out to more areas in Delaware,
Hmm.
New Jersey,
Hmm.
uh, all over. I mean, I want it to become uh, a newspaper that is when you say the name Sun, the Philadelphia Sun, that it's not a question. Oh, are they still printing, or are they? And
Hmm.
and you know what? I get a whole lot less than that
Yes.
now than I did 4 years ago.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because when I took over, at first there were places that we were taking the Sun, and they were like, "Oh, I thought you all stopped printing after
Wow.
Jerry passed." And it was like,
Hmm.
no,
Hmm.
no, we are still printing. So I would like to see us continue to grow, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at other opportunities that are our social media pages and our Facebook shows
Mm-hmm.
like yours and the others, that we are able to expand that.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way we're able to do that is through funding. So I'd
Right.
like to get like sponsors who will say, hey, I would like to sponsor this show, so that you can take it to another realm.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm looking for the Philadelphia Sun to not only be a newspaper and not just on social media,
Right.
but to go to other forms of media as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I have this idea, and I didn't say anything to you, but I'm going to say it publicly. Every year I write, as the award shows come out, I write, in fact, I put
I
up one on
know.
my page
I love
today.
it.
Oh my God, I was sitting in the airport at Puerto Rico when the Golden Globes came out, and
Hmm.
I started looking at the fashions. I said, oh, heavens to Betsy, we cannot do
Yes.
this. What I would love to do for the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, each time we have an award show in 2021, that I run something simultaneously and do a critique of the fashions, right? Because
Absolutely.
I don't want to do any, I don't want to watch the show. I don't watch any of those shows. I don't watch
Yeah.
them. All I do is I go find the fashions, and then we go, Lord Jesus. So they would be like doing videos and, uploading all of that. And then I would talk about, the critique of the fashions and why they worked or didn't work. Kind of like a Joan
Sure.
Rivers, except it would be the ass mother style.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I've talked to you about that also. I said I would love to see you doing a red carpet review for the Sun,
Hmm.
and live at the different award shows. And because one, your presence when you come up and you dress the way you do, and it gravitates people to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
And fashion, you look at it, you have great ideas.
I
A
do,
lot
Kathy.
of, oh my God.
People think I'm playing. I know my fashion from
Hmm.
the rooter to the tutor. Like what color you should wear, what colors you shouldn't wear, what fabric works with what, mixing and dancing. And so people thought at first that I was just doing this for fun. I mean, it's fun, but I know
Hmm.
my fashion. You know,
Yes, and you enjoy it.
I
I
do.
mean, you enjoy coming out with picking outfits anywhere you're going. Like you can, I was looking at your year in review
Hmm.
and all the different places and outfits that you wore. I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, it was just you were a fashion plate all in itself. So
Did I tell you that when I was on the red carpet, Deborah Winans asked me to, from Greenleaf, asked me to design a piece for her?
yes,
Yeah,
yes. And
yeah,
you said you were, once it
did it.
completed that,
I
you
did it.
would let us
Hmm.
see it.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
All of us see it.
Yep, yep. I'm designing another friend's wedding gown this year.
Oh, yes.
Just so what became as an the impetus for it, Kathy, was really I was bored with what was in the stores and
Hmm.
nothing fit me. I'm almost 6 feet tall and I have the wingspan of an eagle. My arms are long, my
Hmm.
legs are long, and my trunk is short. So I just started looking for fabric, which is the way I grew up in Jamaica. My mother would take me to the haberdashery, would buy the fabrics for us, and then would take us to the dressmaker to make our clothes. I just thought it was the worst thing ever. I wanted to buy my clothes in the store like everybody else. As an adult, I was like, I can't wear this foolishness. So, what started as something that I was doing for myself became something that people, I have designed more pieces for folks than you all would ever know, like literally,
Wow.
right? And it became a thing. So, stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing the right things that makes your soul sing is a beautiful, beautiful thing. You want to do more for the Philadelphia Sunday Sun. We want to do more to support you. And I literally, I'm going to take these last few minutes to tell you that you are a Black woman that exemplifies what we expect from our leaders. I know for a fact, Kathy, that people will try to overlook you because you're so quiet, but you are a powerful voice for what we're doing here. You have been consistent with us. You have taught me to trust more because some of the Black women, uh, we're not even going to talk about women in general, but some of the Black women that I ran into who behaved as if they would be your bestie. You turn around and in Philadelphia, everybody talks. Folks talk a lot,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And so you would think that they're your friends, and the next thing you know, they were running you down and talking about you like a dog. You never did it. You have always been a consistent, humble leader. You never tried to take advantage of the people that worked with you, for you, or even just loving people in general. I've watched you do this over and again. Do you hear me? And
Thank
so,
you.
from my heart to yours, I want to say thank you. Thank you for teaching me, that this is still possible. Thank you for showing as an example what Black women can do when we work together and not try to tear each other apart. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that coming from you because, you too, I've, from the day I met you, there was a genuineness, a strong, you're strong, you're fierce, but you also have that side, that kind side that will do for anybody, and you will go to whatever lengths. I mean, and I learned that with Jawan when we uh, were in the Vibe and Imagine.
Mm-hmm.
My grandchildren, they were a part of that, and
Mm-hmm.
I went to the ceremony. And when you brought him up on stage and talked about the blood, what was that he needed? He needed the
A stem cell match.
stem cell
Mm-hmm.
match.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of people that got up and went to that back room to sign up was incredible. And I truly believe that you were a big part of saving that boy's life
Yeah.
and making sure that he could, I was so afraid that he was going to pass.
Mm-hmm.
And, I said, it's just so sad. It shouldn't be. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that we needed to know. And you did a story on that also,
Yeah.
letting people know the importance of Black people going out and having this test done,
Mm-hmm.
because it happened to him, but it could happen to any of our children.
Yes.
And so, I mean, these are the type of stories that
Mm-hmm.
in the Sun that we want to make sure that we
Yes.
put out there,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
does. It really saves lives.
It
The
does.
Dr. Ayla Stanford, and again another one that at first nobody really was talking about until you put her on the radio. You wrote a story about her in the Sun, and all of a sudden she blew up.
Mhm.
The eye doctor,
A Dr. Major. Oh my
yes,
gosh.
love her,
Let me tell you
and
something. She has saved so many lives, Kathy. In fact, and that she was a cover story too.
yes,
Pe- People still call me today to talk about how Dr. Major saved their lives.
yes,
She's
yes,
just been amazing. But
but
that's
it
a
just,
story, excuse me, that's a story most people would not have carried,
no,
right?
they wouldn't have.
But we need doctors that look like us that are going to stand
Yes,
for we're okay. Yep.
yes, and yes, and she happened to be a woman.
Hmm.
So I mean, we try to highlight the good work that women are doing, but
Yeah.
to show again that we have people out here that are, they're stepping up to the plate,
Hmm.
and all they need is a voice, and
Yeah.
all they need is information.
Hmm.
So that's what I want to continue to do. I
Hmm.
want to make sure that the Sun continues to shine a light on what we are doing in our community, all of the great work, and not just the negativity. But if there is something going on,
Hmm.
those who aren't doing what they're supposed to do, I want to make sure that we highlight that also, that we hold people accountable.
Yes. Yes.
And and that's one of the other things that we're going to focus on this year,
Hmm.
is not only just saying, this is what is right in the world happening,
Hmm.
but to make sure again that we always, I mean, we followed all the Black Lives Matter. We
Hmm.
talked about the police brutality,
Hmm.
and we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to make sure that the Sun is keeps you up to date
Hmm.
and aware of what is happening in your community.
Yeah, when there were protests in the streets, it was me, Denise Clay. Who else was
Hmm.
out there? We were running face. I was running a Facebook Live. I had to go get a COVID test afterwards. I was
Yes,
stuck
yes,
in there with all those people, right? But it's like really being able to. And then when Barack Obama was coming for the to talk, and I
yes.
called you, I said, Kathy.
I want to go live. You was like, I want to go live. I said, absolutely. But I tell you, this was such an important election year. And I have to say that, we stepped up to the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Denise,
Mm-hmm.
Amy, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, on the front lines,
Yep.
I mean, just out there
Mm-hmm.
on the front lines, just going to wherever the story was.
Yeah.
And this is during COVID.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm so thankful to you all for that,
Yeah.
because, again, this was a way why the sun is still shining, the why the sun is still going.
Mm-hmm.
It's you all, it's our staff, it's the behind the scenes staff, like our graphic designers, Donnell,
Darnell.
Hudson,
Yes.
and
Yep.
Amina Rashid. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and again, photographers are
Mm-hmm.
just everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
it's more than one person. Our advertising person, Leah, who is
Mm-hmm.
also, our office manager, everything else. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she is a one woman
Yeah.
crusade to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that when I'm not around, she's
Mm-hmm.
next in line.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
distribution team,
Mm-hmm.
Terrence, who does so much for us in the background, and to make sure that we keep everything technically going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just so many. So I mean, I am not able to do this by myself.
Yes.
I'm so thankful for everyone that is part of our family, the Sun team, and that's what we call it, a family. We're not just you all are not just employees to me. You're
Mm-hmm.
family,
Mm-hmm.
because you keep us going.
Yeah. I saw.
And like family, I try to be there when
Yeah.
I can for you all.
Yep. When Robert Mendelssohn died, I remember your being there, making sure that all the pictures were there for him.
Yeah.
You were one of the few people, we found out you were one of the few people that actually paid him for his photographs. That is how much integrity you have. So many public officials would tell him, send me that photograph, take this photograph, and no one would, most people wouldn't. He was living in a one room house and probably was able to do that because you were paying him. But not a lot of people were paying him for his craft, right? I can't
Yeah.
thank you enough for that. I still remember him dearly.
Me
We wrote a
too.
story about him too. And we also, because would you believe we only have 2 minutes left?
Oh my God. Yeah, did this is so fast. And remember, I was saying, what are we going to talk about for a whole hour?
Yes.
But no,
So
this is a pleasure. But
yes,
yes,
and so before we get off, let's congratulate Denise Clay. She just got married.
yes,
So
yes, yes.
excited.
Denise Clay and Chris Murray, who is also,
Yes.
he's our
He's a
sports
writer too.
columnist.
Oh,
Yes. So, our Sun family has joined together, and of course they've been together a long time, but
yes.
it was so wonderful to be a part, to see their wedding
Yes.
online, and to be
Mm-hmm.
able to congratulate them. They
Mm-hmm.
worked so hard,
Yeah.
and again, I'm just so happy for them, that they were able to, unfortunately, not do it the way that they wanted
Right.
to, but we were all still able to be a part of it. And when
Yeah.
this COVID is over, we'll be able to celebrate in person.
Yes, yes, yes. So it is a $40 a year for a subscription. $40, people. You want to keep the Sunday Sun going? I'm going to ask that as many of you as possible go online right now to philasun.com and look for the for subscription, the notice for
Just go to
subscription. Subs-
subscriptions and
Subscribe, and they will have it delivered to your door for
mhm.
$40 a year. Try that with the Philadelphia Inquirer and see what you get. $40 a year.
And also, you'll receive our weekly newsletter as
Yep.
well.
Oh
And that
wow.
comes out 3 times a week, so it
Oh
gives you kind of
wow.
updates as to what's happening, or things that we're not able to get put in the paper,
Right.
but that, just to let you know that we're aware of what's going on, and we want to
Wow.
make sure that you are.
Wow.
So thank you, Andrea, for
Oh,
allowing me
you
to
are
be a
so
part of Ask Mother. Mother, of course, I've always wanted to be a part of it, but it's like, I like to be behind the scenes. You've asked me before, and I'm so glad I did this, and we're
yeah.
going to do it again.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
but I
All right.
look forward to just continuing this year
Yes.
and making it so much more for our
Yes.
readers. But
Yes,
I
ma'am.
thank everyone who supports us in the Sun, who has subscriptions, who has done advertising with us. I'm so thankful for you that we are able to continue because of you.
Mm-hmm.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Follow the Philadelphia Sunday Sun on Facebook at the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, on Instagram and on Twitter at PhilaSun. The Ask Mother Lunch Hour Live is officially over. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
Yes.